A robust house requires a strong foundation. For a strong foundation, a contractor can provide the best quality materials but relies on the architect for a solid design. Without this, the contractor cannot build a durable house, even with the best intentions. The same can be said for CSOs' efforts and development. Without the right enabling environment, even the strongest CSOs will not be able to perform. Perhaps the legal and regulatory environment provided by governments is the most determining element for a CSO enabling environment. There are 6 stepping stones for creating legal and regulatory environments that are considered enabling. The first stepping stone is respect for and promotion of fundamental freedoms. Providing an enabling environment for CSOs needs to be consistent with internationally agreed rights. The most CSO-relevant rights are to freedom of association, assembly, and expression. This means that individuals or organizations have the right to join or leave groups voluntarily. Groups have the right to take collective action to pursue the interests of their members, and associations have the right to accept or decline membership based on certain criteria. It also means that individuals or organizations have the right to assemble in public places, for example for protests, and communicate their opinions and ideas in the public sphere or the media. These rights are protected in international declarations, such as the well-known Universal Declaration of Human Rights and the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights. The second stepping stone is the establishment of a legal framework for CSOs. It refers to the fact that CSOs need an enabling legal and regulatory framework. Of course, there are many variations around the world to what such frameworks for CSOs look like. This could be CSO-specific legislation, or CSOs could be covered in a broader law. Governments can create a favorable environment for CSOs by making sure that the legal and regulatory environment facilitates rather than complicates CSO formation, registration, and operation. This is stepping stone number 3. A legal and regulatory framework that is enabling for CSO formation means that every individual has the right to join or participate in a CSO without discrimination. In addition, registration of CSOs by governments should be voluntary. Requirements and procedures, including application rejections, need to be transparent and applied consistently across all applicants. Enabling operations means CSOs need to be allowed to pursue a broad range of objectives and activities that CSOs themselves define, without interference in CSOs' internal governance. Stepping stone number 4 refers to the fact that governments need to facilitate access to resources. Access to resources is critical for CSOs' ability to pursue their objectives and activities, as well as to their sustainability. Access to various resources helps to reduce CSOs' dependency on one particular source. In addition, legal and regulatory frameworks need to facilitate, not restrict, CSOs' access to funding. This includes from both domestic and foreign sources. Stepping stone number 5 illustrates that it's not enough to have a legal and regulatory framework that enables CSOs if other non-CSO-related laws contradict this. If other laws, regulations, or policies may be having a restrictive effect on CSOs, there can be unintended consequences that undermine the enabling elements of CSO laws. A classic example is that of regulations related to security and counter-terrorism. Terrorism needs to be contained, but care needs to be taken so that counter-terror regulations do not impede the rights to freedom of association or CSO's ability to access financial resources. We've made it to the 6th stepping stone, which is CSO engagement in drafting or revising CSO-related laws, policies, and regulations. The task team very much believes in involving CSOs in policy dialogue and policy development. This also applies to the drafting or revising of CSO-related laws, policies, and regulations. Ideally, CSOs should be involved in policy dialogue and policy development under a collaborative approach with governments to ensure that the end result meets both stakeholders' needs. Governments can follow these 6 stepping stones to enable CSOs to maximize their contributions to development. Simultaneously, CSOs can hold governments to account in ensuring that they provide an enabling environment and uphold the international principles they have committed to. So now that you know exactly what is needed for an enabling legal and regulatory environment for CSOs, perhaps you can reflect on how some of these elements apply in your own environment.